So next we have John, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
John Batchelor, Kennedy's Bush. Sorry, a bit of repeat stuff actually, because he stole my thunder. But okay, water charges. I've got a couple of alternatives which I'd just like you to consider, please, for covering the cost of water reticulation. The first suggestion I had, similar to the previous gentleman, is full user pays. Remove water charges from the general rates and charge for all water used. I'm aware of the limitations in summer, but however, paying for every bit of water you use introduces quite a considerable discipline. If any of you around here grew up on tank water as I did, if you've been on tank water, especially as a kid growing up with parents giving you the finger, you understand water usage, and it actually is a really good discipline you carry through the rest of your life. I'm picking that you may be not so keen on that idea. Second suggestion I have is also similar, and that's based on land area. Given that our rates are comprised of value, land value, and improvement value, and the land value relates a bit in the residential terms to to area. And this is particularly relevant to the Port Hills, where the fire risk is much, much greater than on the flat, and we suffered being evacuated and all that a few years ago, so I know what it's like. But Port Hills properties doing a bit of watering in the dry months for fire mitigation is virtually, if you live up there, it's essential, and it's in everybody's interest that maybe there's a bit of a green margin around properties to help prevent fire spreading. My third point is that if you do decide to continue with the current system of charging for sort of excess use, the charges do need to be over the whole year so that they even out. I'm well aware of limitations in the hot months, but if you live on the hills in particular, you've just got to do some watering in those hot months. Otherwise, everything will die, and then you've got a fire risk. You're just making a fire risk. And the point I make is that, sure, you might use more than whatever the allocation is decided to be over the summer months, the hot months. But however, the rest of the other 9 months of the year, maybe, or 8 months or whatever, you're probably below the allocation, and it really needs to be evened out so that you look at, okay, how much did the person use over the whole year, and it has to be evened out. And I make the point that if the infrastructure can't deliver the water in the peak period in the summer, then you need to look at the infrastructure, and also you need to have a hard look at how much development you're allowing to continue to be consented. And just one other point I want to make, and this is a housekeeping thing. This invoice, tax invoice statement, it's a government document. It's actually not really legitimate because it doesn't show how it's calculated. If it was a power bill, it would have meter start, meter finish, the amount, whatever, over what you're allowed, and the charge. It doesn't show any meter readings, and this one in particular is exactly a thousands of litre figure, 000, and if it was done on meter readings, it just would not be rounded off with 3 zeros. So I'll just be honest, I'm not paying this at the moment until the council shows me how this was calculated, because it's a bill for a usage of something. If it was a power bill, I'd see the usage. And this is an open item at the moment downstairs. But this issue of not showing how this is calculated is actually, you need to talk to your staff about making sure that an invoice is sent out that is legitimate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh.
Kia ora, just a quick one.
Yep.
I won't ask you how much literage you use, but the Kennedy's bush residents, on average, how much do you think they use?
Well, look,
Per
just
day.
very quickly, I'm aware of the time, very quickly, we've only been on that property just for a short time, and last season, about a year ago roughly, I did a huge amount of planting trying to increase the border of native bush around the bottom of the place, just trying to create habitat for the birds and all that. I'm retired, you see, so this is great stuff to do when you're retired. Now, I admit I probably did use quite a bit of water, keeping all those young plants alive, and so that's fine. And I actually don't mind. I'm quite happy to pay this invoice, but I need to see how it was calculated. And so that's the point on the invoice. But Port Hills properties need to be able to keep their shrubbery alive. Otherwise, you end up with a whole lot of dead shrubbery, and then you've got the fire risk is even worse than it might be, if you know what I mean. The fires on the Port Hills there back however many years ago it was, you could see how the fire, like it tried to get into Kennedy's bush, into the native bush, and it sort of got sick of trying to burn native bush, and it whipped round the side and up the ridges and all on the dry stuff, the gorse and the grass and all that sort of carry on. Native bush has got a very real benefit, and if you live high on the hill, you're very happy to have properties with native bush below you because it actually will stop it. And I mean, I've even gone to the point of, I know they're a bit of a weed, but planting agapanthus right round the very bottom boundary, because agapanthus will just kill a fire once it's established in a decent thickness. And that's what it's all about. All right, thank you very much.
Very interesting. Thank you. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for your time.
Okay. Now we've got Keith